Human Resilience Workbench is a new product. It is something that not every ZenGuide customer has license or access rights to, but it is built on top of the capability set of the ZenGuide platform and offers a broader view into human risk from bringing in risk signals from other Proofpoint products, as well as key partner products that we'll talk about. The key thing to know here is that today, this is available for customers that have what we call our Prime or collaboration protection solution bundles from Proofpoint. We do expect to potentially expand availability of Human Resilience Workbench in the future, so stay tuned for more information on that. But I do want to give just a high-level review of what the tool is, what it offers today, and how it's different than the ZenGuide platform. Human Resilience is really based on something we've talked about previously, which is our DICE methodology, which stands for Detect, Intervene, Change Behavior, and Evaluate. And it's how we see organizations modernizing their approach to human risk beyond traditional security awareness compliance programs. The idea being that we need to have signal ingestion to view where risky user behaviors are happening. We need to have automations that can intervene with users with targeted content that's relevant to that risky behavior. We need to be able to monitor those users over time to see if their behavior does change or if we can, in fact, follow up for different users in different motivational contexts to try to get them to change behavior. And of course, we need to send the results back and evaluate the outcomes of your programs to ensure they're effective. And we do this in the Human Resilience Workbench through having some new tools at our disposal, most notably risk scoring and risk profiles. And the idea is that all of the different signals we are ingesting, we're aggregating together in the Human Resilience Workbench to generate these organizational, departmental, and individual risk scores. And that also gives us trend analysis over time about which users are being introduced to which risk groups and how trends of risk are changing in the organization over time and which behaviors are driving those changes. And so this provides another level of metrics and visibility into where user risk is concentrated in your workforce, as well as through the power of the Human Resilience Workbench, what you can do about that risk to mitigate it. You might be asking which signals can come into this, what's available to ingest. And the answer is that from the Proofpoint platform, we support a range of products, including our target attack protection, ZenGuide, data protection products, CASB, and also we have a new product that we've added to the portfolio recently, Acuity, which is primarily focused on the risk related to AI usage in your organization. These all represent products that generate risk signals of different types. Some are based on, for example, simulation behavior, users clicking on phishing simulation, that's a ZenGuide signal. Some that are based on user privilege, who your VIP users are, or who your very attacked users are, that's coming from TAP. And some use cases might be risk of users that are not actually doing anything behaviorally wrong, perhaps, but are in fact highly risky insofar as their level of privilege and access to sensitive information, of utilization of tools like AI, which can multiply the scale impact if they are taking risky actions. And those are signals we would see from example, our DLP product or from Acuity. These can be ingested into our risk engine. The risk engine is there to pull these signals in. We aggregate it on a 24-hour cycle. We update all the user references to those risks. And then those are aggregated into risk scores at an individual user level and also into risk profiles. And risk profiles are really where we see the adaptive groups of who your risky users are that you can act on through the Human Resilience Workbench. Those risk profiles, as I mentioned earlier, look somewhat similar to our adaptive groups we offer in ZenGuide, but with a key difference being that they're representing our user risk score that is fluctuating over time, as well as is attached to recommended actions you can take on those user groups to drive that risk down. Today, we're focused on the recommended actions we can offer through ZenGuide for delivering training and awareness, assessing vulnerability through phishing simulation. But over time, we do expect to expand that to more policy-based controls, including things like elevated monitoring or the ability to trigger browser isolation, for instance, through users that represent significant risk to the organization based on behavior. When a user is pulled into a risk group inside of it, HRW, one of the things you'll notice is that you have the ability to view a recommendation in that group. And this recommendation is actually content that we provide out of the box for our program recommendations we think would help mitigate this risk. So for example, looking at the VIP clickers risk profile, we're talking about a group of users that are highly privileged in the organization that represent clicking risk, both from phishing simulation as well as real clicks from our email protection of phishing attacks. And we're able to recognize in that group through communications that are tailored for an executive audience, assignment that might be targeted on sort of content that's meaningful for that audience, simulation content that's valuable or reasonable to assess the risk, and then also follow-up communications for their engagement in the program. We provide these recommendations out of the box, and you can click on the Create button to leverage that and create a pathway from HRW directly inside of your Pathways workflow. But this sort of model is something we'll revisit a little bit when we talk about agentic AI, because there's a lot of opportunity to improve on this from a generative AI perspective as we talk about tailoring for specific companies' needs versus the generic groups that we provide out of the box. And then even if you're not an HRW customer today or are not able to acquire Prime or Collab Protection, I would emphasize that you are getting improvements from this in the core ZenGuide platform as well. Most notably, we've added a new Awareness Insights tab for detailed user behavior that's available for all customers to take advantage of. It's part of our user management part of the ZenGuide platform. When you navigate to a user, you can drill down into a user and visit the Awareness Insights tab, and this will be populated with the awareness risk data that we actually push along to Human Resilience Workbench, but it's available for all ZenGuide customers to view as well. So you can look at a specific user's behavior trends over time, their reported email performance, their training performance, and their phishing campaign performance over time in one view.